The late 1800s had its flaws. Many of the United States' peer competitors, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Italy, Belgium, and Portugal, were engaged in imperialistic adventures, and the United States felt that in order to be a great power among great powers, it had to behave in a manner similar to its peers. I would say that the most realistic sense of American empire would be two topics. One would be of special interests. In 1912, Theodore Roosevelt notably referred to the quote-unquote invisible government of the United States as an unholy alliance, referring to the major party politics in the United States. This use was geopolitical with respect to the economic reach of the trusts and monopolies, basically sugar interests, Standard Oil, etc., and the U.S. foreign policy supporting them, which is ironic. Early in his career as Assistant Secretary of the Navy, Roosevelt was instrumental in preparing the Navy for the Spanish-American War, and was an enthusiastic proponent of testing the United States military in battle, at one point stating, quote, "I should be welcome for almost any war, for I think this country needs one," end quote. The second topic would be that of American cultural imperialism. The controversy regarding the issue of U.S. cultural imperialism is largely separate from the debate about U.S. military imperialism. However, some critics of imperialism argue that the two concepts are interconnected. American fashion, politics, views, and values have been exported out of our own national borders, especially to English-speaking nations. An example is this: a word or phrase that originates here can travel to Canada, then to England, then to Australia, and then to New Zealand. It can be argued that a lot of post-World War II fashion originated here in America. The English language may be European, but in many respects it's American now. But an empire does not have to own land or control it. It can influence other nations, which we do actually quite well. Canada is often referred to as a quote-unquote satellite state of the United States, being a near exact copy of our nation. The only real difference is population size and government type. I often think that Canada is what the United States would have eventually become if the revolution had been stopped or did not happen at all. Most Canadians don't like the idea of being a quote-unquote vassal state of the USA, but in reality, that's what they are. Some even call Britain itself under America's control. A good example is that during the Suez Crisis, Britain had to withdraw its forces under UN and US pressure, with the obvious display of Britain's waning status as an influential force and empire. With the notion of Britain being an extension of the US, oh, how the times have changed. I doubt the founding fathers would have ever thought that England would one day indirectly fall under our control. But for other nations, I think that South Korea and Japan are the best examples. After World War II, Japan was soundly defeated, and the United States even governed the island nation for a time. This is another example of an American empire that would allow or have no choice but to let American soldiers remain within its borders. South Korea is best perhaps the example. It can often be said that if not for American occupation, the entire Korean peninsula would be communist, one of the few examples of American foreign intervention being a good thing. As a result, South Korea and Japan are the most stable and profitable regions in all of Asia. When it is argued that the United States is an empire, there is not always references to the British Empire. Some make correlations between the Roman Empire, a democratic empire, an empire of the Senate, hence what Thomas Jefferson envisioned, an empire of liberty. But in the end, empires are destined to fall. The British Empire was racked with 2 world wars and colonies wanting to govern themselves. The British Empire was dismantled by external changes. If America really is an empire, we will be the ones who will cause our own downfall. Rome fell upon itself with corrupt leaders, ignoring internal problems and rather focusing on lost grandeur and pride. Here in America, we have had a succession of bad leaders, and the status of our nation as the most powerful and influential in the world is put into question. We Americans are wondering about what will happen to our nation. Nothing lasts forever. So what now? Is this an end to American supremacy in the world? Will we have to share power with other nations, or will we regain the influence that we lost? It's sad to think that we even have to say such things. A democratic nation would not care if it was the best, or the most powerful, or the most influential, or the most important. So what are we? An empire of liberty, like the one our founding fathers envisioned, or an abomination of what our nation was originally meant to be? Or is this just the natural progression that we took in response to a changing world? You listen to what I have to say, so think about it.